Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all doing well today. Today, I thought I'd talk a little bit about palm reading. Palm reading is something that I've been really interested in for, I think, as a kid. I mean, I remember going to the exhibition, the CNE here in Toronto, and they would have palm readers and things like that in little booths set up. And even if we went to other fairs and things like that, they would always have somebody doing it for fun. And I remember I always wanted to do it. So, my mom or dad, whoever I was with at that, on that day, would, give me the $5 to go in and have this done. And I was always fascinated with it. And I remember being in the library and finding a book on palmistry. And I think I read that thing cover to cover. I just was so enamored with it. And so I would start looking at my palm and looking at other people's palms. Like, this is at 8 or 10 years old. And over the years, it just became something that I was interested more and more in. And for a long time, I would look at palms and I would refer to what it said in the book. And I would read whatever that said. If it said, if it looks like this, it means this. If it looks like this, it means that. And then I started, when I would look at palms, I would see or feel other things. And then I wasn't sure, because it didn't say that in the book. I was thinking, well, then maybe that's not what it means. And it wasn't until later on in life that I started to realize that I was intuitive, and looking at palms, I could read them intuitively. So I didn't need to see the book to know what those things meant, because to me they might mean something different. And it was something that it took me a while to come to terms with, that because you think, well, whoever wrote that book obviously knew more than I do about it, so you would think that that person would be the authority on it. So I felt like the more I trusted myself, the easier I could see what was going on in somebody's palm. And that has opened up a world of difference for me. So, I mean, I still look at the lifeline, where the lifeline is, and the love line, and the career line, and, but I have my own interpretations of what certain things are. And when I do a reading, one of the things that, if it's a virtual reading, one of the things that I will ask of the person is to send me a picture of their palm. And about, I don't know, half an hour before the reading or so, I'll look at the palm, and it's like, at first I see the big lines. I kind of like, okay, zone in on the big lines. And then the more I'm looking at it, then I see, oh, this pops up and this pops up. And then I can sort of see what else is going on in their lives. And I don't like to read kids' palms. I've said that from the beginning. My kids ask me all the time, can you read my palm? And I say no, because I find kids are very impressionable. And if I tell them something, they may hold on to that forever. And that might be something, well, that psychic said that I'm going to do this. And that's another thing. I don't call myself a psychic. I don't feel like I can look into your eyes and say, you're going to, go buy a loaf of bread tomorrow. It's not, to me, that's not what I do. What I do is see what's happening with them now, and I can see some bits of what's coming, but to me, I don't know. I feel like to consider myself a psychic, I don't know. I feel like that's a different aspect of divination and readings. So divination is like all those different forms, like reading, looking into a crystal ball, tarot cards, palm reading, runes, throw the bones. There was a course that I did, and it was about all different types of divination through the centuries, like since ancient times. And it was actually really fascinating the way that people of the ancient times, like say, for example, when Egypt was the rulers, okay? So they would take their statues of their god, whatever god they were looking for an answer from, and the priests would carry this statue. It wasn't a giant one. It was one that they could put on I forget what they call it, but it's, that thing that's, they put it up on their shoulders, and there's 4 of them that carry it. I forget the name of it. But anyways, you get the picture. So they would take this statue and they would walk down I guess beside the river, and I don't think it was the pharaoh that was there, but somebody high up would decide who they would stop and talk to. So people from all around would come to the river, and they would try to get an opportunity to ask a question of the gods. And it would be the priests holding this, I want to say chariot, but I know it's not a chariot because chariot has wheels on it. But I'm going to call it a loft. Okay, I know it's not that. That's what it's called. But I just want you to get that picture in your head. So then they would tilt. Well, the theory was that the god would tilt the statue based on the answer, like back and forth for yes, side to side for no. So the person would say, am I going to have a good crop this year? And the statue would move one way or the other. Now, the question is, was it just the priest moving it? Maybe somebody had paid them off to say yes to somebody or say no to somebody. So there was a lot of human interaction that could change the outcome of that type of divination. And there was other ones from ancient China where they would take animal bones and they would carve meanings into the bones with torches, and then somebody would read it afterwards to see what the messages were. There was another one from, I believe it was ancient Greece, and somebody would come to a diviner, who is somebody like myself who would be able to look into what your question is and what the answer would be. And they would slaughter a goat or a sheep, which I do not do. I would never do that. I'm too much of an animal lover. And so they would then take out their liver and they would look for images in the liver. And the images based on where they were, which quadrant of the liver they were in, would mean different things. So it's amazing how many different types of divination there are. There was many more too. I mean, tea leaf reading is another one. And tea leaf reading is something that I do as well. And I've, again, been fascinated with it forever. I had never heard of those other ones though, like the sheep liver and the animal bones. I had never heard of that before. I had heard about runes, and I have runes, and I don't feel as much of a connection with runes as I do with palm reading or tarot card reading. I feel like even with tarot cards, it's more intuitive again. But back to the palm reading. So the palm reading, I find there's so much about us that gets into our palms. Our palms tell such a story. When somebody shows me their palm, I get so excited because it's like this novel about them that all of a sudden I get to see. And it's incredible to see the journey that they've gone on, and to see where they've where they've come from. Some people have so much story. If they turn their hand over and I see all these lines and I think, wow, there's so much that you've been through in your life and so much that you have yet to experience, so much that you have behind you. And it's really fascinating to me to be able to look into that. And I think the biggest thing for me was to learn to trust what I saw instead of, like I said before, what the book says, if you see a line here, it means this. Well, maybe it does, but maybe I interpret it a different way. And I think that that's one thing that anybody who wants to try it, listen to what your intuition tells you, because it is so much smarter than anything else. And I think that the more we can trust our intuition, the better and safer we'll be, because it's not wrong. Your intuition tells you when something feels off or if something feels right. So anyways, that's just one of the things that I really enjoy doing. So we'll talk again another day about some other things. All right? Well, I hope everybody has a great day. Take care.